What would happen if you threw a steel ball into the Marianas Trench? Would it be crushed? This is the Marianas Trench, the deepest fissure in the Earth's surface. A canyon. It's about 11 kilometers deep, 5 kilometers wide. It's completely filled with water. Because the Marianas Trench is so deep, it's almost completely covered in darkness. It's almost impossible for light to penetrate such extreme underwater distances, so the water's temperature isn't very friendly. The temperature difference between the surface and the bottom of the trench is quite large, about 30 degrees Celsius. But the most dangerous feature is the water pressure. The water pressure in the deepest part of the trench is about 1,000 times the standard atmospheric pressure. If a human being were at the bottom of the trench, he or she would be crushed in an instant. But metal is another matter entirely. This is a solid ball of steel. When you drop it in the Marianas Trench. At first, I thought the ball would sink slowly and steadily and be slowed down by the water. But that's not the case. The ball moving through the water quickly reaches its terminal velocity, the speed at which the force of gravity balances the resistance of the medium. A rough calculation shows that the ball will reach a maximum speed of 15 meters per second. The ball will reach the bottom of the Marianas Trench in about 12 minutes, where it will hit the bottom and probably plunge into the silt, so the ball will be flattened. In order to deform the steel, it would take more than twice the pressure of 108.6 megapascals. If you do a very rough calculation, the pressure of the ocean is clearly not enough, but the pressure of the Mariana Trench would still compress the ball by 1/1000th of its volume. We can't even see it with the naked eye. And these changes are not permanent. If you bring the ball to the surface, it will return to its original shape, because the pressure will drop to normal levels. But what happens to the first ball once it reaches the bottom of the ocean? After a week, a month, or a year, for example, will the ball be able to stay in the Mariana Trench for a long time? Yes, because in the deep sea, rust does not form as quickly as it normally does. The severity of steel corrosion is highly dependent on the oxygen content of the water. In water deeper than 4.8 kilometers, the amount of oxygen dissolved in the water remains constant. So as a rough estimate, it would take more than 10,000 years for a steel ball to rust completely. But the seafloor can be home to bacteria that love metals and oxidize them. For example, these organisms have been destroying the Titanic for years, at a depth of about 3.8 kilometers. Of course, compared to the Marianas Trench, it's nothing. But it makes no difference to bacteria. The enormous pressure doesn't affect them if they're very tiny. It's possible that these bacteria will be enjoying lunch with our steel ball. In 10,000 years, it will completely collapse and mix with the water and silt on the sea floor. By the way, what if we replace the steel ball with something more common, like a bowling ball? Would it sink to the bottom of the trench? Would you like to throw one? Feel free to discuss it in the comments section.